all the way out your introduction, your body, your conclusion, all of your subtopics, excellent reasoning. Now it's time to figure out how we're going to turn this into a speech. Now, you probably recall that Ignite speeches, one of the unique features about them is that they are in 15-second chunks. Every 15 seconds, those slides auto advance, and what you say needs to sync up with whatever is on those slides. Well, what that means for us is that we have to figure out what those 15-second chunks are going to be before we even make our slides. And so that's what we're going to be working on today. The first thing you're going to do is, of course, open your Ignite speech outline and have that ready to go. And then you're also going to need a timer. And so the timer is going to be set at 15 seconds. You can use your phone, you can Google the word timer, and you can use one on Google Chrome, whatever works for you. I'm going to be using my phone today and have that set at 15 seconds. Now, you'll notice we had all of you put these in kind of rows, right, or different boxes. Well, now it's all kind of getting mushed together, and sometimes your slides might run over from one section to another. In short, what I'm trying to say is what we're going to do is combine these so that we take out these lines. And what you'll do is you're going to click everywhere where there's a white background in your outline. You're going to click and drag to highlight all of those portions. Then all you have to do is right-click on your trackpads, like in the lower right-hand corner, right-click, and then go down to where it says Merge Cells. So that was highlight, right-click, down to Merge Cells. And when you click Merge Cells, you'll see, oh, it kind of smushes it all together. It gets rid of those lines. And we're going to do that for all of the sections of our Ignite speech. Now, if you didn't write like down here, you don't necessarily have to merge all that together, but wherever there's writing, you definitely want to merge that together all the way down to your conclusion. Let's assume that I did that for my whole outline. And then next, we're going to start reading our speech. Now, before this, you should have read your speech to make sure that it was at least 3 minutes long when you read it at a nice, slow, steady pace, and it not more than 5 minutes. Now, the reason why you want to read at a slow, medium pace is that you don't want to go so fast that then when you give your speech, you have to talk really fast, and then you're falling behind in your speech or your timing gets messed up. So it's always better to go a little slower. Like right now, I'm probably even talking too fast as I'm giving these instructions. So we're going to start at the beginning. I'm going to have my timer ready to go. I'm going to set that at 15 seconds. And then I'm going to hit the timer and start reading my speech at a nice pace and see where it ends at 15 seconds. So here we go. I'm hitting start, and then I will start to read. I want you to take a second and just realize what you're thinking about right now. Is it something that you're mad about? Something you're excited for? Something that makes you stressed or sad? You've always have thoughts running through your mind, whether they are negative or positive. Okay, so my timer went off, and I was right kind of in the middle of this sentence. Now I have to make a decision. Do I want that first slide to include everything that I was going to say, even though it kind of ended about the time when I said negative? Or do I want to go back? Now, sometimes you want to err on the side of going back so that you don't have too much to say in one slide. So I'm actually going to go backwards, and I'm going to say I want my first slide to end here. But we want to end it at the end of a sentence. We don't want to just end it in the middle of a sentence. So I'm going to go back to the previous sentence, and that's where I want my first slide to end, is at the word sad. If I made it at positive, that would give me maybe too much to say in those 15 seconds, and I might have to rush a little bit. So I'm going to say sad is where that 15 seconds ended. What I'm going to do is highlight the word sad, just that last word of my that section. And I'm going to go over to this little comment section. Now, if you don't have that, I think you can also go to insert and down to comments at the very bottom, or you can do Control-Alt-M. But I'm just going to use that little comment button here. And I'm going to make a comment that says slide 1. Now I know everything before this, from I all the way down to sad, is going to be my slide 1. Later I'll have to think of a picture or something that I want to put up to show the audience, but I'm not worried about that right now. I'm just trying to read through my speech. And then I'm going to go back to you, and I'm going to start reading again and read it out at 15 seconds. And so I would start it and go. You always have thoughts running through your mind, whether they are negative or positive. I know that I have had negative thoughts before that make me sad or worried. It's normal. But I'm going to talk to you about the many benefits of positive thinking. Positive thinking is a topic that, okay, so it stopped there. And since I was in the middle of the sentence, I'm going to go back to here to the word thinking. And that's where I'm going to have my second slide end, is slide 2. And so I'll put slide 2 and then comment, and there we go. Now let's assume that I've done this all. I'm not going to go all the way through, but let's assume I kept going and then say like my next slide ended at relationships, and that's slide 3. And then my next slide, I kept reading and it went all the way. Let's say I kept reading and it ended at benefits down here in subtopic 1. Well, what you want to think about the sections, and the one place where you really want to make sure that your slides do end is at the end of a section. Like the end of my introduction, that should be a slide break before I start subtopic 1. So even if I went ahead here, I'd probably want to go back and make sure that my slide 4 is ending at the end of my introduction. Because if the slide keeps going as we start subtopic 1, now we're switching topics and the slide's going to be, now I have to find something that fits both the introduction and subtopic 1, and that's going to be hard to do. So I want it to end at the end of my introduction. And so I might have to figure out how to maybe slow down or speed up a little bit once I'm getting going with the timing of that speech, but I want to make sure I have a slide ending at the end of my introduction after I say my claim. Now I'd continue on, and the same thing, I would continue through 15 seconds, and I'd want to make sure that one of my slides ends at the end of subtopic 1. And I have a slide that ends at the end of subtopic 2 and subtopic 3. And then at the start of my conclusion before I get there. But I'm going to go through my whole speech, and I'm going to time it out in 15-second intervals. Then with all the slides. So at the end, I should have all of these slides over on the side, and I should have between 12 and 20 slides. 12 is the very minimum, because if you have 12 slides at 15 seconds, that means it's 3 minutes. If you have 20 slides at 15 seconds, doing the math with that would make it 5 minutes, and we don't want our speech to be over 5 minutes. So 20 slides is the maximum that you should have on your Ignite speech. Any longer than that, your speech starts to maybe drag on and isn't so interesting. So let's assume that I went through and I did that whole thing and I timed out all of my slides, and I had 15 slides, somewhere between 12 and 20. I'm good to go. The next thing that we want to do is we want to make note cards. Now, your teacher posted for you something called the Ignite Note Cards template, and it looks like this. So we're going to open this up. And this has the margins set and has everything set so that when I put something on here, it's going to fit on a note card. If I cut it out and I tape it on, it's going to totally fit. So I'm going to go back now, and that's slide 1. So everything that I had for slide 1, I'm going to go to here. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to click and drag all the way from I down to SAD. I'm going to do Control C, or however you like to copy. And then go to my Ignite Note Cards template. And I'm going to replace everything it says on slide 1 here with that writing. That's maybe a little small. Like I noticed that I could fill up more space there. So if I want to increase the size of the font a little bit, just so because imagine you'll be up in front of the class and you'll be reading. You don't want teeny tiny writing that's hard to read. So I could increase the font size a little bit, but I don't want it to take up more space than what it says on slide 2 here, because then it wouldn't fit on the note card. But I can up the size if I want to, again, just so it's a little easier to read. Then I would go to here and I would go to slide 2, and everything that's going to be on slide 2, I would copy and I'd put on slide 2 all the way down to the end. So I'm going to click on this and all the way down. Keep going all the way down. Now let's say, and then I only had 15 slides. So I'm going to delete everything after slide 16 because we don't want to print extra paper and waste paper. So I'm going to click there, delete all of that. So I have all of my slides. Let's pretend that has my whole speech on it. And then I'm going to print. And so I'm going to print that. Once I have it all printed off, I can cut these out, tape them onto a note card. And now I have note cards that are ready to go that match up with my speech. They match up with my slides, and I'll be ready to practice and get going on the next part when we start making our slides and then practicing slides. I'll have my note cards ready to go. So that's how to chunk your speech into 15-second chunks so that your speech is ready to go and ready to practice, and then you can have a tremendous Ignite speech. So good luck, everybody. Work hard, and let's make some amazing speeches.